There are fears a tropical storm could wreak havoc on the Philippines for a second time. At least 82 people have been killed as a result of the weather system's extensive flooding. Forecasters warn the storm could make a U-turn next week if it gets pushed back by the winds in the South China Sea. More than 2.6 million people have been affected by the storm so far.
Tonight, Cuba is a country in crisis. At least 10 million across the communist nation without power for the second time in 24 hours after one of the island's major power plants failed on Friday. The blackout putting angry residents closer to the brink of catastrophe amid repression and already growing shortages of clean water, fuel, and food. Because there is no one who can stand this, says this visibly frustrated resident. Regime officials blaming the problem on aging, crumbling infrastructure, already the source of regular rolling blackouts across the island, and on a shortage of fuel imports. The outrage pouring onto streets with chants of, "We want electricity." The government declaring an emergency shutdown in a last-ditch effort to conserve what little energy was left.
This is a fatal blow of the failed policies, the failures of the Cuban regime on the Cuban people.
Amalia Dace is a scholar of the Cuban experience at the University of Pennsylvania.
Is there any reason to believe that the Cuban government is going to be able to resolve this issue?
No, I don't think they're going to be able to resolve the issue. I believe they're going to continue to blame the United States for its problems, as it's done for the last 65 years.
Cuba's president has vowed there won't be any rest until the power is back on. But a new hurricane on the horizon, expected to hit Cuba tomorrow, could only deepen this disaster. George Solis, NBC News.
Protests echo through the streets of Havana after another night lit only by lanterns and candles. Without electricity, we have nothing, says this woman. We don't have food, we don't have a way to work. Except for hotels and hospitals, 10 million people were without power when Cuba's national electrical grid crashed Friday. 4 tries to get things running again failed, leaving residents like Annabelle Gonzalez with even less than usual. Everything has gone to waste, the little I have. This is the only water I have. Outages are frequent on the island nation, though none this bad in recent years. The blackout affecting other vital services like water supply, since the pumps run on electricity. The economy paralyzed as the government shuttered all non-essential state services and businesses, including schools. The subsidized ration lines are longer than usual. The situation is bad, says this man. I'm 74 years old and I've never seen this before. Amidst an ongoing economic crisis, Cuba's communist government blames fuel shortages and the U.S. trade embargo and sanctions, as well as deteriorating infrastructure. We've been operating for many years without access to spare parts, says Cuba's energy minister. Canada's former ambassador to Cuba says countries like Canada need to help.
The Cuban people are in a very difficult situation, and one can debate political systems till the cows come home. That's not the issue here.
While Hurricane Oscar, which made landfall in Cuba this afternoon, threatens to make things worse, the Cuban people, no strangers to hardship, are making the best of it as they wait, going about their lives in darkness, at least until morning. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Toronto.